Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Testing. Testing. Please do not be alarmed. We are broadcasting on a lost signal. Please do not attempt to adjust the dial until after the program has reached its conclusion. The department is a myth, as are its case files. Case file 7682. The Visitor.
It's a bit musty down here. You'll learn to love it, kid. Filing duty's a sweet gig. When I applied to the department, I didn't see secretary listed under my duties, Agent Stoles. Well, we're short-staffed. What do you want? Somebody's got to do it. Besides, puttering around down here for a week won't seem so bad once you've been doing this a couple of years. I think we might be cut from different cloth, Stoles. I remember thinking like you, kid. All action, no paperwork, coke on Sunday, work on Monday. I've never done... It's a figure of speech, kid. Look at you. Pride of the academy type. You'll do well here. But you gotta start with the grunt work like every other rookie. And that means filing duty, Susie. Besides, you're the eager beaver type, right? Never not prepared or whatever the Boy Scouts say. Why don't you read over a few of these old files, kid? Really get an idea of what we work on here. What's this? That is the first field case I ever handled solo. Whoa, look at the time. Gotta go, kid. Meetings and blah, blah, blah. But listen, nobody is really watching you down here, okay? It's your first week, and there's so many files that any dent you put in this is gonna look like a BB gun welt. So don't work too hard. There's a desk over in the corner with a pretty comfy chair under all that dust. See ya. Oh, Jesus. There's more dust than I thought. All right, let's see if this desk lamp works. All right, Agent Stoles. Teach me something.
Dr. Lysandre was, by all accounts of his colleagues, a genius. In the field of regressive memories and psychological trauma, he was on the cutting edge in 1992. His latest headlines concerned his work with victims of alleged alien abduction. Word in scientific circles, paranormal and otherwise, was that Dr. Lysandre was about to publish a paper that would make the world take the concept of visitors from another planet seriously for the first time. Then, he disappeared, resigned his professorship, and cut ties with all students, colleagues, and patients. Nobody had any idea where he might go. It took me 6 months to track him down to the glorified shack he was renting in the East Texas backwater called Corrido. You have 5 seconds to tell me what you're doing here before I blow your fucking head off. His eyes were wild behind smudged spectacles, and a scraggly black beard had obscured the sharp features so prominent in the pictures the department had provided. But it was him all right. He held a revolver on me that seemed too big for his hand, but the barrel laid steady directly between my eyes. Dr. Lysandre? I burned all of the papers like you asked, damn it. Now leave me alone. I believe you have me confused with someone else. Yeah, right. Black car, black suit, shades. Sure, you're a bit more believable than the last one, but I'm on to your game. Get off my porch. Would it help if I let you see my eyes? What? There, shades are off. See? Normal peepers. I appreciate you lowering the hand cannon. Just remember that it's not put away yet. How'd you know about the eyes? You're not the only one that these entities have visited, Dr. Lysandre. We shouldn't be speaking out here. Inside. Sit. The folding chairs would be better. I think there's mice in the sofa. How kind of you to warn me. So, you work for the government, then? Technically. Technically? My greatest concern is national security, Doctor. And this entity, as you called it, my visitor last year. Is it a threat to national security? That is very possible, yes. But you don't know, do you? Never mind. I assume that you can't say, and I won't force you. Besides, I already know the answer. You haven't a clue. Otherwise, you would have no need to bother me. Speaking of, how exactly did you come to bother me? I thought I made myself hard to find. You did. It took me 6 months to figure out where you'd gone. I suppose that means they can find me as well. Speaking of, since you're here, what exactly are they? They are something the likes of which we've never seen before. They also seem very interested in themes of alien abduction, a field you had been working in at the time of your disappearance. It was an interest, though it always took a backseat until I was able to find a way to blend the subject with my psychological research. It sounds as though you don't know much more than I do, Mr. Agent Stoles. All right, Agent. What exactly do you want with me? Details, Doctor. Details of what? Your visitor. Is that something you can provide? Details? The entire thing is etched into my nightmares clear as day. I can give you all the details you'd like.
We are the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast. I'm Declan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes like serial killers and the random one-off murder. We will tell you about bizarre occurrences like alien abductions and monsters in the dark. And we just might get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories.
At the very end of every show, we like to lighten things up and cleanse the palate from the tragic and terrifying stories. So we end our time with a chaser. You might get to hear crazy stories about our pets or just silly movie recommendations.
Give us a listen. We are the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast.
I had been working with memory regression for a number of years, but my research really began to take off when I met Jonathan Franklin. Jonathan was a terribly broken man. He was convinced he'd been taken as a boy, convinced it was aliens. He remembered a series of flashing lights, a coldness, and white dots on a black background that he was convinced was some kind of map. The problem was that he couldn't remember a single detail otherwise. Despite years of night terrors about something taking him away as a boy, he could never see in his mind's eye just who the culprit was. I thought that perhaps with some of my techniques I could help him. Tell me now, Jonathan, where do you find yourself? I'm in a long hallway. The walls are smooth black metal. And there's a door in front of me. Open it, Jonathan. I can't. There's no handle. It's just smooth to the touch like the walls. Wait. It's open now. When I touched it, it opened. Good, Jonathan. This is the furthest you've ever been able to go. Tell me, what's inside the doorway? It's dark. Look harder. Step inside. I'm frightened. I'm right here, Jonathan. There's nothing to be afraid of. Step inside the room. Okay. Now, where are you? I'm in a room filled with computer consoles. It looks like something out of an old sci-fi movie. They're flashing in the dark. There's something in the middle of the room, too. It looks like an image, but it's just floating above a console. What is it an image of? I don't know. Bright dots on a black grid? Stars? That's it. Stars. It's a map, I think, Doctor. How do you know, John? I don't know. I think they showed me. I think it's where they came from. If I gave you a piece of paper, could you replicate it? Yes. Here, Jonathan. Now draw it out. There's someone coming, Doctor. Ignore them. Write down the dots, John. They're getting closer. They're in the doorway now. I'm not supposed to be in here, Doc. I was wrong. They didn't show me. Jonathan, come back to me. I wasn't supposed to see this. They're upset. They're grabbing for me and I can't get away. Jonathan, snap out of it. I've got to. Oh my God. He began to seize violently, his eyes rolling back into his head and his whole body tensing like one large muscle electrified. Jonathan, wake up. Wake up. You're safe. You're in my office, Jonathan. At last, his body relaxed and he came to. Jonathan. Jonathan, what did you see? Get off of me. He left in a storm of anger and residual fear, and I let him. It had been one of our most intense sessions yet, and one that Jonathan's fragile psyche was probably not ready for. Whatever he'd seen in that room with him, it rattled him. The piece of paper I'd given him to draw on had slipped between the couch cushions, and I snapped it up to take a look at its contents. Looks like a star system. I've never seen this one before, though. Hello?
Good evening. I am calling for Dr. Richter Lesandre.
Speaking.
Good evening, Doctor. My name is Jack Brown. I am a UFO researcher. I write for a national UFO magazine.
I see. Why are you calling?
We have been aware of your experiments with Jonathan Franklin for some time. You plan to write a paper about him.
That's right.
I was hoping to interview you about the upcoming paper, Dr. Lesandre. It would be an honor to have a first look at such reputedly revolutionary techniques. Are you free this evening?
Well, yes, I suppose. I should be at my office for another hour. If you can make it here before then.
Not a problem, Doctor.
At my office door was a squat, egg-shaped little man dressed neck to toes in a black trench coat. He had a fedora pulled low over his eyes that were covered by black shades. His lips were viciously red, chapped, I thought, and he had a way of twiddling his fingers against them that was incredibly distracting. Yes?
Good evening, Dr. Lesandre. I am Jack Brown. We spoke on the telephone earlier.
But how? The only payphone is in the lobby and you just hung up only a moment ago.
May I please come in?
Now wait just a minute.
We must speak, Doctor. Not out here. May I please come in?
I don't think...
You will let me in, Doctor.
Sure. Come in.
Thank you.
I don't know why, but suddenly I was so lightheaded that I couldn't help but let him inside. I couldn't focus on saying no or anything else, and I collapsed in the chair behind my desk. Won't you please take a seat, Mr. Brown?
Thank you.
Of course. So you wish to interview me about my work with Jonathan Franklin?
Yes. Our readers would be most interested. Tell me, what has Mr. Franklin remembered so far?
Well, I can't quite tell you that. The paper isn't even out yet, but what I can tell you is that Jonathan has never been closer to unlocking the pieces of his past that he has locked away from himself. All it will take now is time.
So he is remembering, then?
He's making progress, yes.
Do you think that Mr. Franklin was actually abducted by extraterrestrials, Dr. Lesandre?
I think I should tell you, Mr. Brown, that I'm happy to talk about my paper. However, my conclusions are confidential until I can publish said paper. Not to mention the issue of doctor-patient confidentiality.
Of course. But at the very least, can you say that you do indeed believe in the possibility of alien abduction?
That I can say, and I do. In fact, over the last year, I've only become more convinced that abduction is not only a real phenomena, it occurs much more regularly than even the UFO community thought.
Fascinating.
Indeed.
Tell me, Doctor, what would you do if somebody ordered you to stop looking into UFOs?
It was a strange question, and it struck a chilly chord in my spine. Though he'd sat down for our chat, he had not removed his coat, hat, or shades, nor did he produce a pencil and pad for writing down my answers. Instead, he was touching his lips so much he practically spoke through his fingers. I could see streaks of red on them and realized that his lips must be bleeding. Excuse me?
Pardon me. I can speak quietly sometimes. I asked, what would you do?
No, I heard you. It was just a strange question. Tell me, Mr. Brown, are you ordering me to stop looking into UFOs?
Not at all, Doctor. However, something can be said for knowing too much. Perhaps you are raising questions whose answers you and your people are not ready for.
I'd appreciate a more standard set of interview questions instead of vague threats, Mr. Brown.
I apologize if I offended you, Dr. Lysandre. I am only asking the questions I was brought here to ask.
He was touching his lips so often now that he seemed to have smeared blood all over his chin.
I apologize. My lips.
Would you like some chapstick or something?
Yes, perhaps that would help.
I dug through my desk for a chapstick that I had been hiding in there since last year. When I found it, I tossed it to him. Here.
Thank you. This will help a great deal.
He uncapped the stick and began to smear it over his lips, but his technique was sloppy and he seemed to coat most of his lower face with the balm. As he did so, he only seemed to smear more bright red along with the waxy medicine. The shape of his lips morphed with each swipe. He looked as though he had no lips at all. He finished applying chapstick and handed it back to me, capless and destroyed. I looked at the stick. It was coated with blood. Except, now that it was closer, it didn't look like blood at all. It was thicker and too bright of a red. It looked more like lipstick. I looked up at Jack Brown. I realized that that wasn't blood on his face, and his lips weren't chapped. He didn't have any lips to be chapped. His mouth was a slit, and his lips had been painted on with makeup.
I looked at him. I really looked. I hadn't noticed how strange he was until that moment. I don't know how I'd missed it. His skin was yellowed as though he'd suffered from cirrhosis. He wore shades, but I could see his brow dancing between the glasses and the fedora, and it was smooth. I realized that he had no eyebrows. I guessed that if I were to snatch the hat off of his head, he would be bald as a cue ball. Not to mention the strange cadence in which he spoke. Yet, I had just let him in here without question.
Now then, back to my questions if you do not mind. Tell me, what has Mr. Franklin seen in his sessions with you, Doctor?
I told you that would violate doctor-patient.
You can tell me without breaking your oath, Doctor. What has Mr. Franklin seen?
I went to tell him again that anything Jonathan experienced in our sessions was confidential until the paper was published. Instead, I felt like I wasn't in control of my own tongue. Words came spilling out, and I was powerless to stop them. A hallway made of smooth black metal, doors without handles, a grid projection with white dots.
Is there anything else Jonathan Franklin has seen?
I tried to fight my mouth, but just today, he claimed something was following him through the hallway. It came for him in the room with the map. He said he wasn't supposed to have seen it. They were angry that he'd seen it.
Did he see what was following him?
I don't know.
You said he saw it. Tell me.
At this command, I felt a mounting pressure in my head. There was a pop behind my eyes, and I realized that my nose had begun to bleed. Instead of taking care of it, though, I continued to speak. I said that it came for him. I think he saw it, but he didn't tell me. He stormed out.
Do you lie?
No.
Thank you. You may clean yourself up now.
The pressure in my head ceased, and suddenly I could keep my mouth closed again. I stood up quickly and snatched the box of tissues up from my desk to clean the blood up from my nose. You just get the hell out of here.
I will. However, I have another few questions. This star map, did Mr. Franklin replicate it ever? You can tell me, Doctor.
Yes, he did. It's there on the table.
Ah, so it is.
What? Do you know what it means?
It is a star system, one that I know well.
He stood then, turning to me. His misshapen lipstick lips morphed and flexed on his face, and I realized that he was attempting a smile.
May I please see the coin in your pocket, Doctor?
Coin in my... Oh. He was right. There had been a quarter in my pocket, left over from the change I'd gotten at lunch. I'd forgotten about it. I took it out and I gave it over to him.
Thank you. I would like to show you something interesting with it. Please pay close attention.
He held the coin out on his hand, palm up. With his other hand, he removed the shades that he had been wearing the entire evening, and what lay behind them made me suddenly lightheaded. His eyes were perfectly circular red orbs. They pulsed and vibrated, emitting a terrible glow which he focused on the coin in his hand. I turned my own attention to the coin, unable to look at his terrible eyes any longer. They made my own feel like television static. I wanted to look away altogether, but I couldn't. I don't think he was letting me look away.
Watch the coin, Doctor. It is a magic trick.
The coin was vibrating in his palm now, glowing with the same sickly red light as his eyes. I could feel the heat coming off of it in his hand. It was burning up, and yet his hand remained steady. I could smell the flesh of his palm burning through the dry blood in my nose, and it made me sick. Then the coin began to disintegrate in his hand. It fell into itself, dissipating into nothing, not even ashes. When it was entirely gone from his hand, he returned his shades to his face, and I could suddenly look away again. Jesus!
Tell me, Doctor, do you remember the tale of Betty and Barney Hill?
What?
Betty and Barney Hill. Are you familiar?
Yes, one of the most famous abduction cases of all time.
You're aware that Barney Hill died several years back.
Yes?
Do you know the cause of death?
I'm not sure. He was older. A heart attack, I suppose?
Close. Barney Hill was beginning to remember things. He knew much, too much. And so what I did to the coin, I did to his heart.
Are you saying that you killed him? Why?
He was learning more than he was allowed to know. Remember that, Dr. Lysandre.
He turned to go, but paused at the door.
Jonathan Franklin is going to cease all communication with you. You are not to try to contact him. Destroy your research. Leave this alone. Do you understand, Doctor?
Yes.
Good. If all directions are followed, we shall not meet again, Doctor. I bid you a good life. Good night.
I tried to get a hold of John, of course. But I couldn't. Nobody had seen him after he'd left my office. The police investigated for a while, but eventually left me alone. Jack Brown didn't, though. What do you mean, Doctor? He was everywhere. I always saw him just out of the corner of my eye. I'd go to the grocery store and he'd be parked at the back of the parking lot in a black car. I'd go to my sister's house and he'd be across the street. Nearly drove me mad until one night I finally burned it all. My entire paper, unpublished. All of the recordings and research straight into the fireplace. Everything except this. I think if I got rid of this too, I could almost believe it was just some strange fever dream, but I couldn't. Something compelled me to keep it. I should have recognized it sooner. What is this, Doctor? The star map agent. Do you recognize it? I'm afraid not. It's Alpha Centauri, our neighboring star system. And you see this line here? Yes. That, I'm fairly sure, is a wormhole. If this map is correct, it spits you out just outside of Earth's orbit. Like a shortcut. Yes, like a shortcut. It turns a 4.4 light-year journey into a proverbial hop, skip, and a jump. Straight to Earth. Thank you for joining us tonight, dear listeners. If you liked what you heard tonight, please leave a review wherever you're listening, and if you really liked it, please consider joining our Patreon. Special shout out to our very first patron, Benjamin Membrino. Thank you for the support, Ben. This concludes our broadcast day.